Welcome to the Root of Power podcast, where I teach you how to chase your joy, find alignment, and create a life and a business that you love, using actionable methods, interviews, and inspiring stories from people who know that true freedom is found within. I'm your host, your always hype woman and sometimes ass kicker, Amanda Chills, and I am so proud of you for choosing to step into your power. Come along, we've got dreams to build. Okay, my love, I have put everything that I offer for free on one page so that we are not doing more work than we have to, because why would we do that? Hashtag work smarter, not harder. So livemyhappyhealth.com/free. You are going to find everything I've created for not only leveling up in your personal life and building a life that you love, but leveling up in your business life and building a business that you love. Okay? livemyhappyhealth.com/free. Love you. Hello. We have got a podcast, I want to say specifically for entrepreneurs, but I actually think regular people, like non-entrepreneurs, can also benefit from concepts of branding and applying it to their personal life. So I'm excited for this conversation. So we have got Tanya Grant with us, a brand specialist, founder, owner, CEO of TNG Designs, which is a multidiscipline. I like to say multi-passionate group.
Oh, I like that. I'm changing it up.
Multi-talented group.
Yes, I like that. I'm going to change it up to suit that, I think.
Feel free to steal that. New branding. You are welcome. Hi, welcome.
Ooh, hello. Thank you for having me on this podcast.
I'm excited.
Everything. I'm super excited for this conversation that we're about to have. I think all of what we've got to discuss, I think there's just a lot to be said about what we need to talk about, and just equally the idea of awareness, building visibility, building all of the goodness of what it is that you're about, that people are about, always needs to be talked of. And I'm super excited.
Okay. I already have thoughts swirling in my brain. This is so exciting. So I cannot tell you how many people I work with who are terrified of being seen. Terrified. Now, in the therapy realm, it's a trauma response, right? They were safest, especially if you grew up in an abusive household or were in an abusive relationship. They were safest, or you were ever bullied, like if nobody paid attention to you, if you were quiet, if you were a wallflower, if you could just really be out of sight, out of mind. So then it's very hard, like for those people to speak up, to stand in their truth, to be who they are. That is one of the most, I have found to be one of the things people never realize they're terrified of, but are terrified of. And then to translate that into the business realm, where not only do you have to figure out what you stand for, but what does your company stand for? What hills are you willing to die on? Who are you?
Yeah.
And people are like, what if I just was never seen and never heard? And I never got on camera and I never had a voice. And I just did those things. And there's like avenues for people like that, like dropshipping or shit like that. But I actually think people's magic is in who they are. And as a branding specialist, I can imagine that you're like, exactly, that's what I help people do.
There we go. Our conversation is done. There we go.
Done. See you guys later.
Next time. But yeah, that's exactly it. Our fear is, I guess that our fear is there to protect us to a certain level, right? Because we've experienced so much in the past. We've experienced things that have obviously haven't had worked as much as we want them to have worked. Do you know what I mean? And we use those sometimes thinking, and we bring them to the future, but we can't bring that to the future, because our future is our future. We can use all the things that happened in the past, anything that didn't quite work out, anything that didn't quite make us what it is that we wanted to be made at that point, use them and bring them to the future. But use them as a lesson, use them as a teaching point. What didn't work then, but how can I make it work now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that takes so much. Yeah. And exactly that. And you said it, touched on a point where, dying on hills. Let's not die on the hills. Let's survive on the hills, please.
That's funny because I actually say die on a hill, like pick what you stand for and stay there.
Yeah.
Like,
yes. Yeah.
So not like,
literally.
So not literally die on a hill, like we have things to do.
Yeah.
But like maybe stake your flag on a hill, but I'm a little dramatic. So I just say die on it.
I like that.
My personal brand is dramatic. It's fine.
But you're right though, to that point though. Think what you are good at. And everybody is good at something, even in the low points, even when you feel demotivated, even when you feel like, oh my gosh, is anything going to work for me?
Right.
There is something in you that you are very, very good at, and, don't get me wrong. There are times where I feel like either low or feel like, oh my gosh, what the hell am I doing? Is this even working? I'm experiencing a little bit of that right now, but at the same time, yes, there is something that is working, and that goes for everybody, but we just have to focus in on what that is. And I know, and I get it. Sometimes it's hard to focus, especially when you've got other distractions at you, in front of you. But how do you even overcome that? I think it's a case of just listening to the quiet a little bit.
I actually find a lot of people struggle with being quiet. So I have a very, very good friend who does branding. She's like one of the coolest people I know. Do you have a friend like that where you're just like, you're so
cool? So what's that about?
Like, so pretty and so smart and so funny. And I'm like, I literally hate you. It's fine. It's fine. You're always cooler than me. I hate you. She lives in Denver. She's a photographer. She's like total badass chick. Like, whatever. We hate her. We love her. And she actually ends up kind of being like a therapist for these people, because in order to put yourself out there in a personal life, in a business realm, whatever, you have to be willing to say like, oh, I'm actually afraid people are going to know this about me. And that's my dog. Hi, baby girl. And that, I don't know that I want to put that out into the world. And that's like the magic. Like that's actually what you need to put out. Like the parts of you that you think are broken, that you think people are going to make fun of. Like, yeah, maybe some asshole on the internet is going to make fun of you, but for like every clown, there's 100 people who are like, me too. Yes. And it's
say
like
that part again. Yeah, exactly that.
It's such a courage space. And I wonder if that's something that you experience too, is like when you're doing this work, you're uncovering a lot of wounds.
Business is therapy. The long and short of it, business is therapy.
Great.
Do you know what I mean? It allows you to be vulnerable in the points where you don't think you should be vulnerable, but no, you have to be vulnerable.
And you're going to face every fear you've ever had.
Yeah, because people resonate with that. I literally shared a post today, and it was talking about the idea of women empowerment. It was just like a whole ads campaign for a recruitment agency called Indeed over here. I think it's over here only. I'm not sure if it's
international. There's one in the US. It's like not a recruitment agency, but like a job post.
Okay, yeah. So similar type of thing, right? So the campaign that it put out was talking about equal pay for women. But when I tell you, like, the graphics that we used were super simple, and it was all the idea of commonality. So I sort of said, you know what, this is a really cool example of how commonality can really resonate with so many people. So if you can get commonality, simplicity, relativity, familiarity, all in one campaign wrapped up in a really cool parcel, then that's amazing. And literally the ads, the images that were used were like, imagine like an ice lolly, right? A chocolate ice lolly. And like a
what is an ice lolly? Like a popsicle?
There we go, popsicle.
Like no,
English versus English language versus the American language. I know, yeah. So we call it ice lolly popsicle. Yes. So imagine just taking a little bite out of it and then selling that popsicle with a bite.
You can say ice lolly. It's okay. We can adjust.
I'm conscious now.
No, you're good. We'll adjust.
And then, things like that, even like a burger, a little bite has been taken out of it, but selling that burger with the bite taken out of it. you're not getting the whole thing,
Yeah.
but it's still getting the idea of the value, you know, this the value of what is the burger, you know, but you're still trying to sell a part of it, but not the whole thing. So the whole concept was around the idea of where women don't necessarily get paid the whole package.
Okay, I see.
Deliver the entirety of it with a lesser pay. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it was just really cool to see it, and just concepts like that I love seeing it. But my whole point to that whole concept and campaign was the idea of commonality. What is that commonality for it, part, you know, especially when you're sharing what's going on with you, you get to be on a bit of a level playing field with your audience, with your clients, with your prospects, whoever's listening to you or coming across and, you know, stopping at your post. And they will stop because you've got something that resonates with them, you know?
So what is branding?
That's a beautiful question. People don't know today.
Because people, you know, people are like, my branding is my logo. And it's like,
no. There's a fun fact. No, it's not. Number one. Number two things that you should always know that your branding is not. It is not your logo and it is not your marketing. They are all completely separate. However, they do go hand in hand with each other. They work well together. So I love sort of like describing branding as like this, and your logos and your marketing, right? So imagine you see this beautifully big building. That's your business.
Okay.
The doorway to the building, that's your logo, because you're attracted by what that doorway looks like. So that looks cool. Then the minute you open up that doorway and you see all the really cool little intricacies, all the really cool sofas that are super comfortable for whatever reason that is, all the frames, all the little bits that make you, that's your branding. And then equally, how you came across this building in the first place, you know, whether it's through an advert, whether it's through an email, whether it's through however, word of mouth, that's your marketing. So the journey it took to get there in the first place. So that's kind of the way I always sort of describe it to my clients or prospects when they sort of trying to think about what is branding in general, because there's so many different meanings to what branding is about. People get lost in the words. So my thought about it was like, let me give you a visual to sort of think about it. This is my interpretation of it.
Yeah, and my brain is going, it's like your business house where you live, where like your business lives, and it's how you decorate your rooms and the temperature that you keep it at, and do you have plants or not have plants, like your business house. And then marketing is like Google Maps. It's like how people get to your, like, I live on a highway. Well, they call it a highway here. It's like a 2-lane, whatever. But in the country, it's a highway. And people can come from, like, my house faces north. So they can come from the east or from the west. If they come from the north or the south, they're coming through my neighbor's houses. So I guess technically you can come through that way too, but like you're trespassing. You can come by car, you can come on a bike. Like, so that's marketing. But like my house is branding. So it's like how you're, like, if your business was a person, it would be how it lives.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So imagine, all of that. It's all the little intricacies, the things that you don't even think about. This, your values. It's the things that you love. It's the things that makes you. To me, it's the personality of what's inside, you know?
So what are some of those things for you? And then I'll talk about what I think some of those things are for me, so people can maybe get an idea. Because I feel like it's very abstract. So they're like, okay, I understand that, but how do I communicate that?
So all those little intricacies, we're going to now turn them into the idea of values, right? What are your values? What is it that puts a beautiful smile on your face? You know, what is it that you really love and make sure? All the things from that to you know, all of the things that put a smile on your face, you know. And equally, it's understanding there's two things again when it comes to your values for your business. They're going to be slightly different to the values for yourself, for your personal brand. So your personal brand is always about you, obviously, right? What you believe in, your fight, your cause, all that kind of stuff. But your business brand is always about them, your audience. So what is the outcome that you want them to have? What is that about? Yeah. But
can you repeat that? Because that's really good.
Yeah. So your personal brand is always about you, your fight, your cause, what it is that you believe in, all that kind of stuff. And your business brand is about them, meaning your audience, your prospects, who it is that you're serving. So and just understanding that part, for one, is game changing. But two, because your business is yours, a lot of your values are going to cross over anyway, but they will have slightly different branches that go off in different directions because of the purpose. And the purpose is what differentiates the two. So when it comes to your business brand, understanding the values. So for me, it's understanding creativity. I love it when people just have an open mind, you know, an openness, in fact, as well. That's another one for me. Another one is the idea of not only execution as in action taking, because I love it when people actually listen to what I'm saying and actually go do something with it.
You're paying me, do the things that I'm suggesting.
And can you just please just listen? Let me help you, please.
Right.
Because, you know, there are people out here who will be like, Tan, I thank you for your work, but it's not working. I was like, well, listen, I did what I needed to do. Did you do what you needed to do?
Ooh, people hate that question.
Yes. I'm going to call them out. Because
you know what, you should, like,
because I'm here, and I'm here to do my job for you, to help serve you, to get and give you these really cool ideas, but ideas are only going to stay that way if you don't go ahead and implement them,
right?
You know, so you're only going to be staying in that little nook if you don't go out there and actually share it, you know. So yeah, that's my beliefs. That's my belief. So yeah.
So do you know Mike Michalowicz? He wrote The Pumpkin Plan and like Clockwork and Fix This Next and Profit First.
Okay, no, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, look at him. He's phenomenal.
I'm gonna do
The Pumpkin Plan is one of the hands down one of the best business books I've ever read, and Profit First is a wonderful accounting system for business. Don't try and spell his last name. Just write down the book names.
I forget it. Just plan.
So he, in I think The Pumpkin Plan, talks about having immutable laws. Like essentially, these are the hills that your business dies on. And he encourages people who like read the book to come up with their laws. And so that sounds like that becomes your branding. So some of like the laws for the private practice, the therapy practice that I have is like people first, always. We serve our people. Sometimes at a personal cost, but they are always served. Another one is like, we dive deep enough to touch the bottom. I'm not here. I call it flushing the toilet. I'm not here to stay on the rim of the bowl with you. Okay. Yeah. We need to flush the toilet. Like we need to go deep. One of ours is like honesty and integrity. So like I literally have on our website, like I don't work with assholes. We don't have to.
Yes. Push people away. Yeah.
Right. You don't want to do the work.
Is that
out of my chair?
Yeah.
Like I can't do it. So it immediately pulls in, right? So when I think of branding, I think of like being magnetic, and that means both. Like the right people are like, oh hell yeah. We love you. I have blue hair. I have tattoos. I have a farm. I cuss.
Love that.
I'm very, very like, you do the work or get out. Like, I am not wasting your time. You will not waste mine. I will stay on the rim with you for a little while if that's what it calls for. But eventually, we got to flush the toilet. Like, we got to go deep, Bill. So then the wrong people who were like, she's unprofessional because she cusses. I can't. So I live in like the South, which can be very conservative. Yay, Bible Belt. I can't tell you. I can't tell you the number of times people have given me feedback that like they think I'm unprofessional because I have colored hair, and I'm like, my hair has nothing to do with my job. Like as a woman of color, right? Like natural hair. That's a huge. I don't know if it's like
it's a fight that still happens, would you believe?
Right. And I don't know how like prevalent it is in the UK, but it's still very prevalent in the US. Like some states just passed a law where like you can't discriminate against natural hair. And it's like,
wow,
where the fuck do we like what? It's fine. It's not fine. Stupid. But so like the wrong people who were like, well, I can't listen to you because your hair is too loud. Good, don't come see me. Like I'm happy to refer you to literally anyone. Because I'm not for you. So that becomes a beautiful thing because it like filters the wrong people automatically. So for you, if you're like, I'm going to call you out if you're not integrating what you're paying me to do for you.
Yes. Yeah.
That makes no sense. Someone who doesn't want to be called out is like, well, I'm just going to hire someone to do a logo and to bring my colors. And then I never actually have to implement them. And it's like,
yeah.
Okay, well then I'm not for you. So it like filters people out and does so much of the work for you. But if you're not clear on those things, it's like everything gets really muddy. And then you're like, why do I hate all my clients? And it's like, well, you're not repelling the right people and you're not attracting the right people.
Yeah. And do you know what, to that point as well, sometimes if you find that a strategy has worked for you in the past, right? Sometimes that same strategy isn't always going to continue working. You might need to tweak things a little bit, you know? So you might need to make adjustments. You might need to change. And some people are so super stuck in their ways that they don't want to make the change. Yeah, but it worked then. I was like, yeah, but this is now. You know? How about you try a little something different? Because if you don't, well, then you're going to keep turning around in that
adapt or die
circle. Exactly. You've got to adapt with what's going on, you know? And it's okay to I guess go back to the drawing board a little. Sometimes every now and then we've got, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we've got to make sure that we are tapping into, wait, what is going on with us? Now that I've grown a little bit further, does this still resonate with what my values stand for and my beliefs stand for? Is this still congruent? You know, so many people just think, no, it was like this when I started, it worked then, it was all good. Thank you very much. But all right, cool. So why are we here?
And those businesses fail. And those people don't grow. Like even on a personal level, like if you're not willing to sometimes assess what you're doing, and that's one of the most useful questions I teach people, business clients and like therapy personal clients, is like, is what you're doing even working? Like, are you happy?
Are you happy?
Are you happy? And if you're a business, are you profitable? Because we don't want you to be a hobby. We want you to make money. So if that's not happening, why?
Long and short, why? You know?
So like, it's really funny because when I was going through like therapy school, when I was getting my master's therapy school, one of the things they teach you, which is so stupid, one is never share personal information. Like, okay, that's dumb. Obviously, I'm not like working through drama with my clients, but like they like to know that I have a farm. I had a turkey living in my shower for a week because he was injured. Like, that's funny. It's a connection. Like, by the way, when you go to the bathroom, there's a turkey. Don't bother him. He's our shower bed and breakfast.
Yeah. Pee freely about the turkey. It's okay.
It's fine. But they like to know how my day is, and I can be honest about that and say, well, you know, like today's a struggle day, but like here I am, we're showing up, we're doing this thing. Like it's okay, right? So that's an aside. The second thing is they teach us to never ask why. And I think that's the most detrimental thing, because if you aren't curious about why things aren't working or why they are working, you can't fix them. So like, why do you have the values that you do? Why do you like the customers that you like? Why are you drawn to these colors? Why do you decorate your house in this way? Because then you start to understand your process for these things, and not just, well, I decided. Okay, but why? Then we can say, oh, I actually believe this because I actually love working with these types of clients because XYZ. And then your marketing becomes easier. Does that make sense? Like,
makes total sense.
I love the why. My questions tell me all the time I'm like a toddler because I'm like, but why?
Why? Exactly. Why? The why is important. And I know some people, like one of my colleagues, so aside from the TNG Designs Group Limited, I'm also one of 5 co-founders for the Queens in Business Club as well, what's known as the Queens in Business Club.
Holla! Love it.
It's got to come and join. Come and have a look, you know?
It sounds fun.
And you know what? Just going back to what you were talking about, hair, presenting, and the way you talk as well, you know, you'll swear, you'll cuss, whatever. That's what makes you you. And equally, each and every one of us 5 ladies, we all have different personalities. One lady has like half shaven hair, red afro, you know, is super cool. Another lady will
That's your friend that's way cooler.
you know.
You're cooler than me.
I mean, she won't cuss till the cows come home, but she'll equally, you know, she'll swear a bit and whatnot, but it comes from passion. It's not a case of swearing because, you know, I feel like swearing right now, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No, it's coming from a place of passion. And there are women in our community who are like, they're pastors. They're, you know, they're people in the sort of religious field and so forth, but they know who she is. So they accept her for her. But I remember being on, we have held like a 5-day challenge, and it was just like a live thing streamed to Facebook group and every day type of thing. And there were a couple of ladies who hadn't experienced us, but they were part of this pastor's community. So they knew her. They're like, right, let me try it out and so forth. And then there were the comments like, oh, you know, to the pastor, oh, there was that language. Oh, but my thing is, if you just stopped at the language, then this isn't for you because you didn't hear the message. Don't let the language in that respect cloud what the message is saying. You know, you've got to receive the message. The message will sometimes come at you in different ways, but are you ready to receive it? That's the real.
You just blew my mind with what you just said.
Thank you.
It just blew my mind. That is so true. Don't let the language stop you from receiving the message.
Yeah. You can't let the language, in this respect I'm talking, you can't, obviously if people are swearing at you, that's a different.
No, right. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying.
But it's swearing in the sense of conversation, in the sense of passion, in the sense of, but that's even how super important this message is that I'm sharing with you. Can you please listen to it? You know,
and that goes to like biases that people have about like people who aren't as educated using, I don't want to say more simple because that's not the right word, but like, well, maybe that works. Like using simpler language, like people who don't have, in this area where I live, a lot of people, especially older people, don't even have a high school education. And those people traditionally are discounted. Like people think I'm more of an authority because I have a master's, and like, yeah, technically I am, but that doesn't mean that just because I use technical jargon that I'm actually smarter. And I think a lot of people hide behind that. And I think that's a really valuable message either way, is like, don't let the language, whether it's highbrow, quote unquote, or lowbrow, like whatever term makes sense there, filter out like what people are saying. And I think that makes sense too with like a lot of maybe people that like you don't vibe with personally. That doesn't mean that they don't have something that's valuable to you. Like I don't go to church. I'm not very religious, but there are some pastors, preachers who are so good at what they do. They're so good at what they do, and their message resonates so hard.
Yes, yeah.
Even though that's not really something that I'm very interested in.
But you'll receive it.
Yeah, right. So if you're open to receiving, which is what you were saying, oh, I love when things tie. This is a really good conversation. Like you were saying in the beginning, like if you're open to receiving, you're going to be getting messages all the time. So it's like if your hand is closed, nobody can hand anything to you. But if your hands are just open and you're like, well, I like this one, I'll eat it. I don't like this one, I'm going to leave it, but I like the next one, so I'm going to eat that. And you always get to choose which message you receive too.
Yeah, because you know why as well? It's because you're finally at that point when you're ready to receive something, ready to receive a message. You're finally at that point that you're ready to hear it and take it on board and to actually do something with it. Because for whatever reason, what you were doing in the past wasn't working. And now you're ready to just, somebody actually said this to me a couple of weeks ago. So aside from what I do as well, so I'm also on Clubhouse once a week, by the way, little shameless plug there. So on something
that's still live
session, you know, Quib Talk Clubhouse. Nice. So myself and my colleague Shim, we had a really cool lady come on, and she literally nailed it. It's about letting go. You gotta let go. We've had, I guess, in our age group, right? In the experiences that we've had right now, right? they haven't always led to an easy journey. Sometimes they've been a bit rough, but sometimes they've been super happy, and sometimes they've been super empowering and lovely and amazing, right? But there are those odd occasions where we, in our past, where society has a way of being a little bit of a bully, you know? And what does that do? It causes you to play small and feel small and feel like you can't do this, that, and the other, or feel like that every idea that you thought of in the past isn't going to work in the future.
Right.
But there comes a point where you have to allow yourself to just release it. I always say, like, acknowledge it, so then you know how to address it. And once you've addressed it and acknowledged it, you know that how you can then start dealing with it.
Love it.
And then equally, when you know how to start dealing with it, you can start taking action with dealing with it, because you're now ready to receive whatever's coming into, you know, the palm of your hand that we were just saying about. Whatever answers are coming to you, you're ready for it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, even when I first, so I've been in, I guess, my line of work for, I want to say, well over 19, maybe near 20 years. I cannot believe that. That's nuts.
Wow.
But,
congrats.
Thank you. But do you know what? It wasn't until 2019 that I officially registered my business as a limited company. Yeah.
Wow.
That part. Because here's the thing. So when I first started, I was literally a freelancer graphic designer. I graduated from university, you know, got my degree. First year, I didn't know how or where to even go.
Right. You're like, what is up?
Like, what is now happening? I thought the world is my oyster, but that is clearly not the case. You know?
The world is my oyster, but I don't even know where the oysters are.
What is going on?
What's an oyster?
What's an oyster? Do you know what I mean? And it sucks when you hear like other people getting the opportunities that you feel that you should be getting, but they don't necessarily come at that point.
Yeah.
And to the point, my sort of foot in the door was actually eventually a year later, like getting work with people like Topshop and Topman. I know you guys had them over there.
Cool.
So, and working with the Arcadia group, I know they're no longer about right now, or not right now, they're no longer about, right? So my foot in the door was actually becoming a freelancer. And I actually started liking this idea of freelancing. I'm going to do this more. So freelancing for me was majority of my career. And I probably was only in a full-time job for like a year and a half. And it ended a year and a half. One, because I was actually ready to leave. But two, I actually got
like, this shit is for the birds.
You know, I actually got made fully redundant, and it probably gave me the excuse, you know, that I needed the little, you know, push in the right direction. But long and short of that, why I was saying to you is because I got to the point where, do you know what, Tan? You need to make what you're doing work a hell of a lot better for you, because this isn't it.
Yeah.
This is not it.
Which I think is a lot of people's journey into entrepreneurship. Like, it's not for everyone. And I think a lot of business coaches who lack integrity, I think a lot of grifter coaches will say, like, entrepreneurship's the only way to make money.
No.
And to be happy and to have freedom. And it's like, that's not true. But I do think that friction for some people grows to a point where you're like, this is not it. So then a natural next step is entrepreneurship. I think a lot of people start there.
Yeah. And can we just throw in there as well? There's nothing wrong with having a job, right? That is 9 to 5. That you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. And I think the point here is that we're talking about is that, do you know what? When you're feeling like where the environment that you're in, again, it's that whole level of congruency, right? If it doesn't match who you are, if it doesn't match your beliefs, your values, which that place was not, it came to that point, right? For me. And to the point where I rediscovered the whole idea of being overworked and underpaid, you know, actually initially within that whole role, my official role actually got made redundant. So I was then on a lesser paying role, but still working twice as hard Actually,
bye.
no, connecting with clients. I was the one making sure that we were presenting to clients. Presentations were sorted, this and the other. I was sharing beliefs that I don't even feel that the company believed in anymore.
Yeah.
Like, well, why am I doing this? You don't even want to do it. One,
Right.
but two, I don't even know if I resonate with this anymore. And three,
Right.
you are stressing me the hell out. You know?
So my boss is super chill.
You know, so I'm going to become my own boss again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, not to say that I don't stress myself out. Yes, I do. I'm
Oh,
gonna hold that.
listen. There are many, many days where the conversation with myself is like, Amanda, what you doing? What you doing? Usually it's like, bitch, what are you doing? Because I'm bad with shiny object syndrome. So like right now I'm mulling over like a biscuit, not like cookies, like biscuits for you guys, but you know, like those big southern like biscuits.
Oh, lovely.
Maybe.
Yes, I know.
So I want to do those.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do a biscuit shop. So I'm like mulling that over in my brain when my brain doesn't want to work. And I'm like, let me look up biscuit recipes. And I'm like, bitch, do your billing. What are you doing? Right, which is like an aside, right? That has nothing to do with anything other than like entrepreneurship is both drinking from a fire hose.
Distraction.
Yeah, well, you know, my brain gets bored, so it's like something productive that eventually I'll do. And right now I'm just mulling it over. So I'm like going over all the branding in my head. I'm like, what is this place going to look like and feel like?
But you know, sometimes we need little exercises like that just to help us to have a break from the norm.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's not saying that you're going to start this new business tomorrow. No, it's just giving yourself a break.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, you know, to that point, we do need to give ourselves a break because we do need to have that little breathing space from the job at hand.
Right. Like
so much. Like for me, I mean, there's a period, obviously, because of what we experienced in the whole lockdown and everything, and during the pandemic, everybody was at home, right? So that meant that not a lot of people left home. They were in their environment. For me, like a day out was going to the living room or, you know, going to another room.
Going out to the mailbox.
Yay. But, you know, over time, you get stuck into little habits. And there'll be periods like, obviously now everything is, I say everything, to a certain more extent, we're a bit more freer in some senses, right? We can go out and do what we need to do now. But I found myself, like, I'll be in this house, like at the computer and be like, Tan, did you actually leave the house today?
Not
no,
yet.
Not yet. Yeah, but it's like near midnight, so
Right.
not gonna happen.
To the mailbox, like go.
You know, you just open the door to that's enough. Thank you.
So I actually got really lucky with that because I live on a farm. So we were outside. So even like during the height of the pandemic, so I do sessions outside, which is one of the things that is in my brand. We do sessions on a farm. I get yelled at by roosters all day long. We have turkeys that I have one turkey named Ruckus, whose life,
I love that.
Her singular goal in life is to cause chaos.
Nice.
That's all she does. She steals people's keys. She tries to eat their pants. She's just an agent of chaos. Now, Ruckus is now part of my brand because she's insane.
I'm glad you said that because you know what? Do you follow Knuckle Bump Farms?
No.
If you don't, you need to.
Okay.
They're based in, I want to say, actually, Florida.
Florida is its own brand.
Yeah, hello.
Florida is its own. I'm from Florida. Florida is its own planet.
I have family in Florida.
I freaking love Floridians. Like they are literally like you know how Australia is insane because they just shipped a bunch of people there and like isolated them. That's Florida. They're like, we sent all the criminals here and it's okay.
Melting pot of hilariousness.
Yeah. Oh my god, Florida is.
Yeah.
So I'm actually gonna have a biscuit called the Florida Man.
Excellent.
You know how that's like in the news, like the Florida Man, and it's always a Florida Man thing, and it's gonna be like gator tail.
I love that.
Crazy on it. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. So we're gonna do a Florida Man biscuit.
You're gonna do like a Swamp Thing one. You go do Swamp Thing. It has to.
Oh my god, the Swamp Thing. That would be really fun. It could be like collard greens and. I don't know if that'd be good on a biscuit, but I will think about it.
Look at it's ridiculous. See one person going off on one. What happens is what happens.
Right. You guys have a good biscuit name, like send them to me on Instagram. I'm not joking. My sister sends them to me all the time, and I keep a running list. Like,
Excellent.
I'll tell you though, we're gonna do a Dolly Parton, and I swear to God, if she comes into the restaurant, I will literally drop dead. We're gonna do eggs Benedict, so it looks like boobs. It's gonna be so fun.
It really has to. Listen. As soon as you open this place, can you just please let me know?
Oh, give me like 2 years and I'm freaking opening it. It's gonna be so fun.
I will help you with the branding because you're gonna have your hands full to help you out. No
if
worries.
I don't hire Elise, though, she'll kill me. But like, yes,
we can work together because it sounds like it's gonna be a big job.
Even more fun. Even more fun. So I don't even remember what we were talking about now. We got onto Florida.
So the whole farm thing where you're talking about your rooster.
Oh, thank you.
So the reason why I mentioned about Knuckle Bump Farm, so basically this lady who runs her own farm as well, she has an emu that is forever.
Oh, Karen.
Yes.
I
almost
got an emu a couple years ago.
Wow.
Almost got a paired of 2 years ago, but we didn't have the fencing for them.
Wow.
And I thought they would kill our horses.
Well, yeah.
So we didn't get them. But oh my God, no, I love Karen. So one of the things that I think branding does, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it like reminds people of you.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like you having your rooster. I love the fact that you've made your rooster part of your brand.
Yeah, unintentionally, because they live on the farm and they scream all day long into the void. Like, so it's actually really cute. Like, so we have turkeys as well. We have like 7 turkeys right now, and we have a mama turkey that has baby chickens. She like was sitting on turkey eggs. They got eaten, so she like stole a chicken egg nest, and she was like, "These are my children now. It's fine." But people love the most shit that I would never think of. Like, I didn't get the turkeys because I was like, people are gonna love these turkeys. We just didn't have a turkey, so I got my dad one, and then now we have more turkeys because he and I are impossible for getting animals and just bring them home. Fine. It's fine. My poor mother.
It's the farm.
Like, I got our first 2 horses. I didn't even tell them. My parents live on the same property, and they come home.
So these random horses are now here.
They were just in the field, and my mom was like, "Well, those aren't cows." I was like, "Surprise! We have 2 horses. It's a party." So like the turkeys are part of the brand. So like if someone says, especially if we laugh, they go. Blah, blah, blah. So a client of mine calls them the Amen Squad. Excellent. So they have now become the Amen Squad, and the roosters are part of it. So people see chickens and they go, "Oh, I thought of you. I saw a chicken," or, whatever. And I'm just like, "Oh, my brand is getting screwed out by birds. This is great." But it is.
It is what it is.
It's okay.
Sometimes we got to go with it and listen to what other people are saying.
Whatever. Yeah. So your branding can be something that you choose, or something that kind of unintentionally people associate with you.
Yeah.
But it becomes anchors. So I said farm, and you went, "Oh, that woman."
Yes.
The emu Karen, which is hilarious, by the way.
That's my favorite. He's my favorite now. And was it Emilio Todd Lopez? Is it Emilio? I'm just named him Emilio. I don't think it's Emilio.
No, the bird, the one that attacks her all the time, is named Karen. You know how that's like the Karen meme? At least in the US, it's like, let me speak to your manager.
Yes, sorry.
So her name is Karen. And then there's a mate, but I honestly can't tell you her name. And then I know she has like a stupid llama named Michael. So it's like, you want people to remember shit about you. And that's your branding.
But and look what it does though. It puts a smile on your face.
Yeah.
For those receiving it, those seeing it. And it's also a welcome distraction, It's a welcome distraction. But obviously we're not trying to be distractions in that kind of a way, but we are trying to remind people to laugh. We are trying to remind people to say, "Hey, you're gonna be okay."
Yeah.
And you
if that's your value. Like some people,
maybe that is.
Some people don't, right? Like Alex Jones, for example, the man who, I hate this.
Emmanuel, that's it. Sorry, not Amelia.
Oh, no, you're right. It is Emmanuel. Like Alex Jones, he was a podcaster. He built an entire company off of conspiracy theories. So like he actually doesn't exist in that realm where he's like, it's gonna be okay. He's like, the world is under. And he made hundreds of millions of dollars doing it. So it's like, you can, obviously his values are fucked. We hate him. He actually just like lost a lawsuit. Thank God. He has to pay out like tens of millions of dollars to parents who, whatever. He's horrible. The point is, you get to decide your values, right? For good or for bad. So like, I love that that's a choice, because I think I personally have a lot of clients who like really are afraid that they're bad people. And I don't know if like you experience that, but they're like, I'm secretly horrible and everyone else is good. And I'm like, I think the fact that you're worried about being a bad person, like bad people never care. So I'm like, that kind of negates that you're
that's fine right there, that you're okay.
right, like you're welcome. You're actually not a bad person. Because you get to choose, because it's your business. You get to choose what you stand for. And if that needs to shift because you're like, oh, I've grown, or I don't believe that anymore, I don't want to stand for that anymore, or whatever, like you can do that and it's okay.
And that part, it's okay. Like when you said it earlier, when you, so on your website, you literally push people away. And I think we both talked about it in conversation. How freeing is that? Oh
my God.
You know, when you can tell somebody, no, I don't think this is for you.
That's so nice.
It's so freeing.
And I actually find it ends up with a better relationship too, because you're saving them the trouble. You're saving you the trouble and the resentment and the energetic, like that happens. But you're also saying, hey, this person may be a better fit for you.
Yeah.
So then they're literally happy.
Yeah. And it lets them know that you're not always about the money aspect. You know, sometimes we need that money, but it's not always, you know what I mean? It's showing that your integrity level runs higher.
Exactly. And I was just going to say, like, I never need money so bad that I'm taking on a client who, especially in the therapy realm, like one of the consequences of taking on the wrong person is that I actually could harm them.
Yes.
Because if I'm the wrong person for them and they take that personally, because I'm being selfish.
Yeah.
I need the money. I need, like, I'll just go get a job. Like, not a problem. But to be okay with unintentionally causing someone harm, or to be okay with, well, it would be intentional because I would have made that choice, like with stalling their progress, their growth, their desires, that's not okay. And that's what happens when you take on the wrong client and really like standing in your integrity, standing in your values, but also really good branding, because it's automatically going to repel people like that. It also prevents that from happening.
That part.
Because they're automatically not going to contact you.
Yeah.
So it like pre-qualifies your leads for you, which is awesome. Like you do the work once or a couple times, like really get your branding, because that takes time, right? You know that.
I was just about to say, it does take time to understand what it is that you actually do want to share with the masses, share with your audience, your prospects, all that kind of stuff. But and that's another thing as well. Allow yourself the time. Don't rush it. But at the same time, get yourself out there. Don't use it to hold you back. You know, it's almost like when you're like posting or anything on social media, just start sharing what your beliefs are. Just start sharing what your values are about. And then you're going to start seeing all the right people coming to you, because those are the people who are resonating and engaging with you. Right. And we just add as well, it does not matter the amount of followers that you have. What does matter is how many people are actually engaging with your posts. That's what you need to be mindful of.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said about that. You know, we've got to just be mindful of that, though. Just start with what it is that you know, and then the rest will come.
So 2 questions. One that I wanted to ask, and then we get on other topics that are also amazing. One, what is the biggest lesson you've learned in business so far? And 2, if people were going to start thinking about styling their house, their brand house, their business house, their personal house. Yeah. Where do people even start? Pick which one you want to answer first, doesn't matter.
Okay, so the one that I remember right now, you may need to refresh my memory. So let's start with the first one.
Okay.
I'm going to say, with the whole idea of understanding what's happened to me, I guess, in my journey. If somebody is wanting to come into this space of entrepreneurship or being a business owner, for me, I became a business owner without realizing I was a business owner. So it, as I said, it wasn't until 2019 where I actually officially registered my business.
And that's like 15 years in.
Yeah, exactly. Because for me, I was just a freelancer and I just wanted to make freelancing work better for myself. But really, I didn't understand the entirety of my question.
Mm-hmm.
When you put it out there to God, the universe, whoever it is you believe in, be prepared to receive what is coming at you, because you've asked the question now, you know? So the minute I did that was the minute I started dropping my guard. And in business, you have to drop your guard.
Yeah.
You also have to be mindful of what you know is more than enough to help that next person.
Good
and
one.
Then equally, the other thing as well, allow yourself the opportunity. And I've just actually been talking about this today as well. So we've been doing a bit of promoting for our event for the, basically myself and the co-founders, we have an event coming up at the end of the year.
Nice.
And it's called Reign Like a Queen. Little shameless plug. But Reign Like a Queen.
Plug it. Like,
I'm plugging it all, damn it.
Talk about it.
But at Reign Like a Queen, this is where we literally empower and encourage and uplift people, women in business, female entrepreneurs, sorry, my men, but we still share that same message with all of you guys.
Love you, you're not invited.
Love you, but yes, sorry. However, please invite your ladies. Thank you. But no, this is where we literally share in that space of awareness and building your awareness, but equally learning to celebrate you. Celebrate what you're about, celebrate your why, celebrate who it is that you are, increase your visibility, you know, the many, many ways that you can go about that. We're going to actually be sharing some really cool tips on that. But equally, we've got some amazing speakers. So if, for example, Amanda, you want to come on over to the UK, you want to come on over. Yeah, come on, speak.
Girl, but don't tempt me because I want to travel so much more this year.
Oh, amazing.
That was one of my like vision board goals was like travel more.
Yes.
So like,
yeah,
girl, if you weren't inviting me, don't tempt me. I will be there. If you just playing, you better rescind it now because I won't go.
But no, but you know, to that point though, I obviously we digress as always. The idea of this event is to help women in business in particular, or even those who are thinking about starting a new business, to understand what their visibility is, number one, but two, the many, many ways as to how they can go ahead and elevate themselves with that visibility, boost their awareness, boost their idea of what it is that they can do, equally can help that next person. Because a lot of the times, you know, going off the back of that Indeed campaign, sometimes women don't value themselves enough. We're just going to say that.
Girl,
right?
Sometimes.
Still, today.
What do you mean sometimes? I've never met a woman with the half the confidence of a mediocre man. I'm just going to say white man.
Yeah.
Like
that part. And it's a true thing.
And I want people to think about who benefits from that, because it's not women. Women don't benefit from discounting ourselves.
No, yeah. And can I just add as well? So this particular event, is not about we're coming to in a space to burn our bras and, you know, stamp around a fire.
No, it's just
don't believe in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's literally about elevating you, elevating your whole being, in the sense where we always talk about when we talk about the event, we call it a 360 experience, because it's not just about what you learn, it's not just about what you're hearing or seeing, it's about what you're feeling as well.
Yes.
Because when you're in a live and in-person event, especially like this, to feel that energy, which is absolutely amazing. And equally, it helps to empower you to keep going and keeps you motivated to keep going even beyond that event. You know, how many times have you been to an event, you're like, oh, that was cool, that was all right, now let me go back to doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
But at this event, you get to feel all of it, experience all of it, and hear all of it, and still,
which is one of the keys too. Like if you're thinking something and leaving your body behind, like you have to have the embodiment. That's one of the huge practices in manifestation, is like visualize what you want, dream about what you want, plan about what you want, but feel as if you already have those things. And it's like when you lock in the embodiment piece, Oh, you want to talk about receiving? It's like time collapses for you. It's bananas.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's what changes up the game.
Oh, we're gonna have to have like a whole separate conversation on that.
I think so. My goodness me.
Okay.
So yes, long and short, that was my first answer.
Good. We love
so
it.
just receive it. Thank you very much. Long and short, receive it, drop your guard, let it go, and whatever that it is. And can I just say, so even as a public speaker as well, there's been times where in training, when I've actually been in training myself, I remember one of my mentors was saying, "Whoa, Tan, are you over that situation you just spoke about?" I'm like, "Of course I am. What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you?"
And you're like, "I'm going to go in the back and cry."
Yes. Okay. I just want to cry. I want to tell you, I probably sped a little bit too fast on my way home that day. I was like, "Oh yeah, that really annoyed the hell."
I actually am sad about that.
Oh my gosh. And maybe I'm not over it.
Yeah.
But
I'm totally over it. And your like face is beat red.
Yes.
Like, oh, it doesn't bother me at all.
It's fine. But what I'm trying to say is your past will crop up every now and then in your future. So what are you going to do to make sure that you move past it or equally allow it to not affect those who you're serving? Because they're also going to see it, you know? And I'm not trying to say mask over it. We don't believe in that. Like what you were saying before, you've got to find what the reason why is, right? So if you don't find out what that reason why is, and I know it will take time. Business is literally a journey. It is not a smooth journey for one. Let's get that, out of the way.
Drinking from a fire hose while in the ocean.
Hello, my goodness. But it's a rewarding one, but it's just understanding what it is that you want to do and why, and more importantly, you want to do it. So like for me, my reason why is because I want to help others to see that they are more than what they see, and that lends itself to branding. It lends itself to all of my other little elements that I'm doing within the Queens and Business Club. It lends itself to anytime I do a bit of training, anytime I'm on stage talking, that message will always come out. And it took me a while to figure out what that actually was for me. It wasn't an overnight thing. No.
But it takes time because like it gets refined and refined and refined, right? So it was like the first time, I don't know why my brain is going, the first time that you make like a meal. So I made I'm Cuban. So I made for the first time like a real Cuban dish. And I made chicken fricassee, which apparently is also like a French thing.
Yeah.
I made the Cuban way because Cuban. And it wasn't right. It was good. Like it wasn't bad. I was like, okay, holla. But it wasn't like my aunt makes it.
Yes.
And I was like, man, this like, it was okay, but it wasn't really good. And I was like beating myself up for it, which like, makes no sense, but okay. And then I was like, Amanda, your aunt has cooked. She's like 80, literally. And I'm like, she has cooked since she was 8,
that part
9, 10 years old. So I'm like, she's literally has a 70-year head start on her fricassee. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes me feel better. So it's like understanding that like people who you think have like such a great message, it also took them time to refine it and to play with things and to experiment and to land where they land now. And I think that's just a good reminder, like where you are now and where you are 5 years from now, after you start refining things, or 6 months from now, is going to be different as long as you keep going. Like the only guarantee that you never get better is if you quit.
Yes.
So why would you?
To add to your point, don't ever quit. Just take a rest if you need to.
Yeah. I love that.
Like
don't take breaks too.
Because it's tiring. This stuff is tiring. Mentally, physically, you get a little bit of brain fatigue, mind fatigue, however you want to say it, you get it, but give yourself a break. And then
like literally also don't be so hard on yourself. And
that part. Yeah, exactly. Hello. Yeah. So finally, so wrapping up your second question, this is where I forgot your second question already.
Yeah.
Somebody coming into the space, into the idea of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So I would say, number one, if you are in full-time employment, do not quit your full-time employment and go straight into entrepreneurship. Please do not do that. Especially if you feel that you can actually stick it out a little bit longer. allow yourself the time it needs to be able to, I guess, boost your awareness, boost what your cause is, your brand, just a little bit more before you end your full-time contract.
Like, give yourself time without the pressure is kind of what you're saying.
Exactly that.
Like, let your bills be paid.
Yes. That part. Exactly that. Your finances need to be okay.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with building it slowly over time. Like, okay, so it takes you 6 months. It took me, I think, 1.5 years before I matched my income from, I was working at a clinic at the time. It took me 1.5 years. And then by the time I was ready to step out, I think I was actually making double like what I made per month. But that took me 1.5 years. And for that 1.5 years, there was no stress because all of my bills were paid. I mean, I was in a really shitty marriage at the time, so like that was really stressful, but like job-wise, I was fine because my bills were paid. So like I could build, I could experiment, I could play without the pressure of like, it has to work tomorrow, which can put us in spaces where that don't serve us.
No.
So your advice is spot on. Keep your job if you have one, and if you can't, like most of the time, honestly, you can. You just want to leave because you want to leave.
Yeah, because you're frustrated with the whole community aspect within the job. I get it. Don't believe me, I get it. But at the time, if you can help not leaving just yet, just allow yourself to the breathing space that you're going to need financially, obviously.
Yeah.
And sort of caveat that though, there is never a right time to leave your work.
Yeah, fair.
You do have to know when it's just right for you, right?
Yeah.
But no, and then on the other side of things, if you are starting out, go for it. Allow yourself to before you actually literally get out there, right?
Yeah.
Just get a blank piece of paper. This is what I always say. Get a blank piece of paper and literally brain dump on this paper everything that you want from your business idea, from your whatever it is that you're doing, your product, your service, whatever that may be for yourself. Put it all onto this big piece of paper and just go for it. Allow yourself to dream even more so. Because when you do that, you get rid of all the boundaries, you get rid of the what ifs, you get rid of but no, such and such told me that this may not work. Forget them. For time being, forget them. You got to silence that noise. Remember I said sometimes your answer is in the quiet. This is where you got to listen to that quiet and just allow it to just come out onto this bit of paper. And funnily enough, I'm actually going to be doing this exercise again in a few days' time because I need to reevaluate a few things, And there's nothing wrong with being able to do that. But when you can do that, your answers are going to start coming out on this bit of paper. And when I say paper, I'm talking about big poster size. Just go for it. You need a few sheets, then go get a few sheets, okay? But if you can help it, don't put it in a book. I'm actually going to say that part. And reason being, only because it's really cool seeing it all out in the open. Yeah.
With like a vision board for your business.
A vision board for your business. That's exactly what I've been trying to say all these years. So in short, it's literally like a vision board. Thank you very much for your business. Exactly that, What is that for your business? Allow yourself to dream. Forget the boundaries just for that moment. Get out what you need to get out. Establish what it is. Think about, once you've gotten all your answers onto this bit of this bit of paper, you're going to start understanding what your values are, what it is that you want for your customers, your clients, equally what you want from it. You're going to find that out, It's almost like doing, I guess, what's known as the SWOT analysis, Do you know what that? So when I talk about SWOT,
I know it, but I can't think of it. Strengths, weaknesses.
No, this is where I'm going to test myself now. Strengths, weaknesses, objectives, SWOT.
I love when we sing when we don't know something. Such a weird human thing that we do.
Do that?
Objectives.
And I cannot remember this is great entrepreneurship. Know what you're about to say.
Knows what it is, tell us. You're like a SWOT analysis. Can't tell you what it is, but you should win.
That part. Look up what a SWOT analysis is and learn how to say it.
I'm gonna look it up because I don't know.
Strengths, weaknesses.
I thought it was SWAT, like a SWAT team.
What's the A and the T?
Hang on, I got you.
I've literally got
No, it is WOT. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats.
That's Yes,
there you go.
that's what it.
Google. You know what? We don't
My
need
brain
to.
is
Google has
full
the answer.
right now. My brain is full.
Right.
There's a lot of
That's what
campaigns
Google's for.
having to promote. So yes,
I don't have to know everything. I can Google it. It's fine.
Google's your best friend on many levels.
Bro.
So
Google was my first business coach. Yeah, 100%.
So there you go.
Okay.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. There you go. Learn what those 4 things are for yourself and for your business as well. And then, yeah, as I said, when you're eventually building up your awareness, I would say do it on social media, but equally understand where, now that you've figured out who it is that you want to help, figure out where they're hanging out on social media. And you're probably going to hate social media if you're not already a lover of it, but that's okay. You got to roll with it.
Yeah.
Go easy. Don't trip yourself up. And equally, what I mean by that is, on social media, just because your competitors are posting daily, do not think that you have to do that from the get-go.
Yeah.
Build it up slowly but surely. Think about what your manageable frequency is. I went from I did it backwards. I actually went from posting daily for quite a while. Then I was like, Tan, I need to take a break. What is going on? As much as I was scheduling things, I was like, you know, I need to reassess a few things. So now I've literally started from scratch again, in the sense where I'm posting once a week, and then I'm going to up that, and then I'm going to up that. And I'm, planning my new schedule to build it and build it and build it, But sometimes you have to do that again. It's sort of reassess. And
it's interesting to run it as an experiment. So not like this has to work, but like, do I really see a difference if I do it once a week versus every day?
It's a trial and error situation a lot of the time, But
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and you will trip up.
Oh my God,
have a failure or two. But guess what? You're going
to lie on the floor and cry. It's fine.
Exactly. Your failures are going to become your lessons.
Yeah. And they'll become somebody else's too, which I think is the really beautiful part about like sharing your story, is like, you may be like, I am the world's biggest idiot for doing this, but somebody's going to be like, oh, I don't feel so dumb. Yes. So like, go ahead.
I was going to say, sometimes people feel alone with what they're doing.
Yeah.
But you get to share your story, and you get to help them to understand that they're not alone in that journey.
Yeah.
And that if you can come out of it, so can they, it's seeing that part. Like, a story is super powerful. Like, there are times, so I literally just did a video. So I also have a YouTube channel, by the way, the Teen Jesus Group Limited. And that was talking about the importance of having a brand story. It is super important to have it, because people get to understand that, oh, they get it.
Right.
They get my pain or struggle right now because of that, and equally it builds on that whole know, like, and trust factor as well, because of that commonality ground.
Right. And it's like it's probably the things that you're most ashamed of, like that people will resonate with the hardest. And it's just like, oh, this is scary, but then people really resonate with it. And I think that's a very human thing too, is like, to see a reflection in somebody else's darkness is like such a human thing. And if you can get it right, not that you're like, a lot of people get this wrong where they're like sobbing on Instagram, and it's like,
to that point, be above your problem, if that makes sense. And
right, like,
have you dealt with it yet?
Feel it, then share it. Don't don't be in it and then sharing it. Like, that is not appropriate. But it is like, I have found that to be true for me. Like, the things that I really have a lot of shame around have been so helpful, especially if you're in a position of authority, which, like, if you are the person running the business, then you are, right? So it just says, like,
all authorities,
right. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be perfect. Like, it's okay. You can be human too. I'm human too. This is one of the reasons that I can help you. It's because we've been there. So yeah, I love that. And I like what you said earlier too, about like figuring out what you want your business to do for you. I've actually never thought about that. Like, in terms of like, oh, I want like my own schedule and I want to work. Oh, well, maybe I have thought about it. I'm like, I work from my farm because I want to hang out with my dog all day. Like,
But and
Not a joke.
to me, that gives a sense of you want freedom to do to be you and to live like you. Do you know what I mean? Not to live for another community or another conglomerate. Is that the right word?
Sure.
Another business.
Yeah. And I think people can do that with their like personal life too. And I have people do that all the time. And I actually find people struggle to dream because it takes a certain amount of like internal safety.
Yes.
Because if you've always been in survival mode, like you literally don't have the space. So it's something that I walk almost every single one of my therapy clients through. And it's one of the hardest exercises I have them do. And I say, what do you want out of life? And they like deer in the headlights look at me and they're like,
what do you mean?
They literally say, I've never thought about it. I've never thought about it. Yeah. And especially if you have a trauma history, they say, I never thought I would make it this far. Okay. Well, now that you're here,
guess what you have?
What do you want?
Yeah, what do you want?
And it's the most empowering exercise because they're like terrified to do it, right? What if I put it on paper? What if it doesn't work? Then I'm a failure. What does it mean about me? Blah, blah, blah. And then I say, okay, if what you're doing, the choices that you make don't align with that, why are we making those choices? And how can we make a choice that's more in alignment? And we can do that with jobs, right? So like not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but you can do it with jobs too. What do you want out of a job? So I actually start with that. I have a lot of people who are like, well, I don't know what job I want. And I'm like, you don't have to. Like, what characteristics do you want in a job? And then we'll just look for something that fits that. Like, you don't have to know the exact job that you want. You don't have to know the exact place you want to live, the exact partner that you want, the exact business that you want. It's enough to say, what do I want from it? What type of things do I want to do? What type of things do I want to get out of it? And then just follow that. And eventually you'll land in the right spot.
Yeah.
And that sounds like where you want people to start is like, what do you want? Which is its own, people have to get over their own shit just to even declare what they want. And I love that too, because then the universe is always listening, right? And she's like, what? I'm going to start.
Oh, now you're right. Let's do this. Let me just throw it
right. And she's like, let me throw all this shit at you. And like your hands have,
finally.
right. And your hands have to be open and you have to receive and you have to be brave and you have to know what you stand for. So like, it just, everything that we talked about today.
Yeah.
Just weaves into that so well.
Yeah. You know, when you're ready as well, because you would have had that last time, that last person who said what they said, tipped you over. Do you know what I mean?
You're like, I'm going to murder everyone in here.
Right. So this is that's your point.
That's your point. Go.
Don't do the actual deed, but please just know that is your point, that you know that now is the time to go and do it.
Yeah.
Now is the time.
And I often find, and I don't know for you, do you work with a lot of new entrepreneurs or like seasoned?
Some of the majority of them are seasoned. In the beginning, it was new, but now I've sort of changed up my avatar and stuff like that. And
it's totally different to work with them. Like seasoned versus new. I actually prefer mostly seasoned, like a couple years in. Yeah. New, I'm like, oh, there's just too much that you have to learn, and I'm not the person for you for that. Like, I don't have the patience. I'm like, I need you to know like a good amount of shit.
Yeah. I was saying we don't have enough time.
Yeah, I'm like, I need you to hire me for a year. Like, there's just too much. No, I prefer season. But if you're super new and you just really love me and want to work with me, like Holly, just get at me. But there was somewhere I was going to go with that. I don't remember. And I completely lost the train of thought. So never mind.
Versus new. But no, you're right in the sense where it's sometimes, I guess with both sides, there are challenges, right? The new is because it's a foreign sort of thing for them. So they're like, they don't quite get what it is.
Well, the learning curve is so steep.
Learning curve. Yes.
Like literally drinking from a fire hose. And it's like, I'm just not the person who has the patience for that. Right? They're just like against the wall, like being
like, whoa. And then with seasoned, it's like, yeah, but we get it, but I don't know if right now is the right time. And then, but to my response to that is always, if now isn't the right time, when is going to be the right time? Because you've been doing X, Y, and Z for so long, and for whatever reason that has now not worked for you. So now what is your next thing? If you leave from me today, after speaking with me today, and you think to yourself, no, I'm gonna go away and think about it. Go ahead and do that. But I'm not going to be there to answer your questions, number one. Two, if you're going to leave this conversation, what is your next move going to be? I want to know right now.
Yeah.
What is your next move?
Otherwise, what I'm doing and hating it.
Drift back again. We're not about drifting backwards. If you can help it, don't drift backwards.
And I think too, like, something being the right time is a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's literally just decide. Like, I was talking to a friend about this yesterday. I feel like we had this conversation a lot, where I'm like, you have to decide whatever belief helps you the most. If that is that it's the right time, that it's not the right time, that this is going to work, that I don't know why you would decide something isn't going to work. That makes no sense. But it's like, just decide it. That's literally a decision. Like, this is the right time. Okay, great. Then just act as if that's true. And it's like, this conversation is just so good. I could talk to you forever.
Yes, I know.
But I don't want to monopolize your day. So
no, thank you. But no, I say we have this part 2 at some point.
No, literally, I'm already like, love you. I will stalk you forever. How do people find you if they're like, yeah, you are my girl, I want to be in your world, I want to be in your ecosystem, like how do people find you?
So you can follow me at TNG Creates. That's T for Tango, N for November, G for Golf, Creates, CREATES, on Instagram, on Facebook. I would say on TikTok, but can you please give me a good month while I get that up and running properly? But that is coming.
Now is the right time.
There's literally nothing on there. You'll probably just see like a little silhouette of a person. I'm on LinkedIn, obviously, as Tanya Grant. And you'll find me with my face going like this. Just like,
and it's
really?
Precious.
Really, you know?
Yeah, that's the one on Instagram, and it is Precious. Oh, I love your voice too, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, I used to have quite an issue with my voice, thinking that I used to sound like a child, but then you get over yourself and then you just keep going.
It's so weird because I don't think that at all.
Good. I guess maybe over time, and where I use my voice a lot more, it's probably seasoned a little bit more, but
maybe, but also maybe it was always like that. And it's like, weird beliefs just get implanted.
Why is that?
Brains are weird. Like
over time, it's learning how to switch up your language when you talk about yourself as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I talk to myself a whole lot better now about my voice.
Well, but that matters too. Yeah. Not being such an asshole to yourself is.
Well, there you go.
Super brave, turns out.
The final thing I wanted to just share with your audience as well. So off the back of what the way how I help my clients and so forth, and what we've just been speaking about here, you talked about the whole the pumpkin plan. So my ethos, if you like, or my principles that I came up with 6 really cool, I say 6, there we go, there's 6, the number 6, principles that have helped not only myself to elevate within my own brand, but equally my clients as well. And again, even these principles have evolved, and there's one in particular, I now call it perception, where it used to be the physiology, but it's understanding the idea of you. Because this is where it begins. It begins with you. So what are you about? What's your vision, your purpose, your values? What are those things? I always call them the brand power of 3, because you need those to help boost what it is you're doing. If you don't start there, then the remaining principles and anything else that comes from it, it's going to fall flat, and it's not going to work because it's not congruent to who you are. So I'd love to share that guide with your fans, with your community. And literally you can find it on TNG Designs. So T for Tango, N for November, G for Golf, DESIGNS.co.uk/ebook. So that's EBOOK. So yeah. And I'd love to share that with everybody, because it's super cool things to think about, I don't like giving the whole game away, but at the same time, it gives you enough to make sure that you go ahead and think about your brand in a hell of a lot better kind of a way. But yeah. And equally, I always have complimentary strategy sessions that I do give out. But on that call, we're making changes. I'm not about having a little cool conversation with you. I'm making sure that you're on this call for a very, very good reason. And when I say changes, it's going to be a change for your business, for what it is that you stand for what it is that you do. So, yeah. And that's about it in a nutshell. You know, one or two things.
I love it. This has been so good.
Good.
Like, I want people to save this episode and like go back and listen to it, because I think it's going to take a couple times, like, marinate on, because we touched on so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you've
got to let it marinate. You got to let it marinate. Absolutely. When you business about, let it marinate.
Yeah. Love. So if people forget everything you say and that I said, even though it's all brilliant, so please don't do that.
Hello.
What do you want people to remember?
Let go and go for it.
You're so good. You're just so good. Like, thank you so much.
No worries at all. Thank you for having me. It's been really cool. Loving this conversation. So,
we're friends now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
We're friends now, yeah. All right, fam. So tngdesigns.co.uk.
That's right. /ebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll get
TNG creates on Instagram
and Facebook as well. And also I am on YouTube as well. And it's literally the TNG Designs Group Limited, and you'll find me there.
So if they want to find me, they can. We'll have all that in the notes anyway.
I'm around. Do you know what I'm saying?
You can find me.
Yeah.
Google.
Google me.
See, my family makes fun of me because I'm like super, super quick to Google things. But I'm like, I have the entirety of human knowledge in my pocket. So if I don't know something, I want the answer to a question.
Google will take it far. That's all I'm saying. Google some good data. If you've got data or a bit of wireless connection, it will take you far.
Yeah, for real. But when you want to actually go farther,
yes,
then you would hire an expert.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Dude, thank you so much. You are a doll.
Thank you so much for having me, Amanda.